Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. The Hurricane Watch team is here with a quick update on the tropics. Talk about here with Tropical Storm 11 there, 999 millibars. We're going to go over all the tropics today and talk a little bit about what we're seeing. Already starting to see that uptick in tropical activity right now. Here is the latest on Tropical Storm 11. Air pressure is at about 999 millibars. We're seeing those winds about 35 knots or about 40 miles an hour. It was formerly known as Invest 93S. Take a look at the satellite imagery right here. You can see we are still seeing quite a bit of wind shear. Maybe starting to see a little bit of it's beginning to improve a little bit, but overall there's still a lot of wind shear and it's really struggling to stay to organize and to strengthen further. There's Mauritius there. Very warm sea surface temperatures. As it continue to moving southwestward, it will continue to move over much warmer sea surface temperatures. Looking at its track, again, it's got to stay well to the north of Mauritius and Réunion. However, there could be some rain and some heavy rain that could lead to some flash flooding. And then about 3 days from now, 3 to 4 days from now, we will see impacts where we could see the storm make landfall in Madagascar. And the latest forecast from the Joint Typhoon Warning Center showing this could make landfall there at 50 knots, the fourth at 0Z. At about 50 knots, it's about 60 miles an hour there. That's prior to its landfall. So we could certainly see some gusty winds for sure. But I think the biggest threat with this is going to be flooding, flash flooding, mudslides, and landslides as well with this system. Alright. And then, so this is the latest forecast track. This is all very interesting. This is the forecast intensity. There's the Joint Typhoon Warning Center at 50 knots. So we are certainly that it will take a while. Still another 24 to 36 hours from now before it really starts to get itself together. It will then intensify, and we believe there'll be a landfall there. 72, a little around 3.5 days from now, we could see that impacting landfall there in Madagascar as a moderately to a strong tropical storm, possibly a weak hurricane, cannot be ruled out. Going on to Subtropical Depression Elvis, is pretty much nothing. I mean, it's in pretty cold waters. We're looking temperatures about 20, 22 degrees Celsius. You need 26 to support a tropical cyclone. It's just being pulled apart, basically. There is the latest satellite imagery of the system. Clearly, you can see the low, no convection, stretched out as it's being ripped apart by that jet stream. Going on to Tropical Depression 99. It's a storm that is really organized and is really getting its act together pretty quickly. And it looks like this storm could intensify rather quickly according to the latest forecast intensities models for this tropical system. Again, looking like it will go from depression to tropical storm status in around the next 24 hours or so, and then continue to intensify. Some models even bringing this into hurricane intensity. So again, there it is. That's where the system is at. I don't exactly know what direction it's moving westward to southwestward, so it does look like it will move over cooler waters, but still more than warm enough to support a tropical system. Taking a look at the latest satellite imagery, I mean, it's not a terrible satellite imagery. I mean, there's a lot of convection, there's a lot of storminess. We're starting to see some outflow going on here. So the storm is organizing relatively quickly. Looking at visible, here you can see the system. You can see there is, again, we are still dealing with some wind shear Much easier to see the wind shear where you can see the swirl down there. That's the exposed low. So we are dealing with some wind shear with this system. I am going to take a look and see the water vapor. So you can see dry air. This is all the dry air down here. There could be a little bit of dry air trying to make its way into the center of the storm and weaken it. But overall, not a whole lot. A majority of the reason why it's not rapidly intensifying, we have the wind shear that is in place. Taking a look at Tropical Invest 96P now. As you can see, here is the latest. Not very organized at all, but my goodness, this is almost, bathtub temperatures. I mean, here looking 31, 32 degrees Celsius. Right here where it's over northeastern Australia, 30 and a half, possibly 31 degrees Celsius in some of these areas. Well, very warm sea surface temperatures. Overall, we're not really seeing anything in terms of, it's just a big rainmaker for eastern Australia. Looking at Tropical Depression 90S, here's the latest as 999 millibars, maximum wind at about 30 knots, at about 35 miles an hour. It is incredibly warm, even seeing those dark purples popping up right there along the coastline. Very warm sea surface temperatures where this system is at. Taking advantage of that, I'm going to take a look at some of this satellite imagery, see what we got going on here. So it's much smaller and much more compact. I'm going to take a look at visible, see if we're dealing with any wind shear, what we got going on here. So I can't see the center of circulation. I don't see a swirl or anything. So it doesn't look like we're seeing some sort of any kind of wind shear really impacting this system. So that is what we are seeing. A lot of convection. It is much smaller. It's much more compact. And often these storms can rapidly intensify. But as rapidly they intensify, they can also rapidly weaken as well. They're very, very influenced by the environment. Alright, given that we have gone over the basics of this, 96P here, 91P, not expected to become anything much. It's falling apart. It's going to fall apart, but it's still producing quite some heavy rain over the Southwest Pacific Islands. I'm going to take a look at forecast models, go over some of these models with some of these systems, and talk a little bit about what we could see intensity-wise. 11S. So overall right now, it's not 11. Tropical Storm 11S remains pretty weak because of the wind shear and some dry air. As we go farther into time, this one model, I looked at it earlier, doesn't really particularly having it super duper powerful. However, there is going to be certainly a big rain, lots of heavy rain. You can even see a bit of an eye wall, a bit of a core trying to develop there before landfall. We'll see if we get that, but it doesn't look like we do get quite a strong, relatively strong system. Taking a look in terms of what are we seeing here with wind speeds, 10-meter winds, 64 knots. You can see it curling around, and then we do tend to try to get a bit of an eye wall, but we don't really get those it doesn't look like we really get hurricane intensity. There's 64 knots right there at 979 millibars. So certainly possibility we could see this really ramp up before landfall there in Madagascar if the wind shear can die down before then. So I want to take a look at the Indian Ocean here because we do have a few systems, again, remnants of Elvis down here, 11S, and then these are our other two systems here, 90 and 99S, in the Indian Ocean that are going to rapidly intensify. The one on the right will intensify much faster because it's not having to battle any of that wind shear and dry air. So because it will be able to intensify fast, it will be able to intensify quicker. We could see that storm could actually be stronger than the other system. looking like we could see air pressures dropping into the 940s once it hits its peak. But again, these storms will not be impacting, or not at this moment expected to impact land. But farther down the line, that could change, as you can see with this one model. Getting pretty close to Madagascar, but again, this is over 366 hours out. We don't really trust anything and put a lot of faith into anything. Really, 168 hours out. So that just shows that we are going to see. This tells us is that according to this model, we are expected to see some rapid intensification with those two systems. However, impact to land is not expected. Taking a look at the Euro model, we sort of get the same thing except for that other system. So Elvis down here, Tropical Storm 11S right there. That system there on the left does not really get itself going. I'm going to go here. Current storm, I think that's 90S. No, it's 99S. 99S is farther off to the left. So the 99S does not seem like it's, according to this one model, really take off. But I keep getting these confused. 90S does get itself together. Now this one particular model, the Euro model, this system here, really getting pretty strong, like possibly close to sub 900 millibars. Now again, this is just one model. You have to really look, we all look at all the models to get a better idea of what we're going to see in the system. But overall, the general idea of what we're going to see with these two systems, they're both going to form, they're going to intensify, they will not impact land. The other one on the east side is going to be much stronger because it will not have to be dealing with that stronger wind shear. So it will be able to get ahead in terms of its intensity. Swells to northwestern. Some swells from this storm to northwestern Australia and Indonesia is expected, especially as it really ramps up. We could see some pretty big swells and some rip currents along those coastlines. And then this model right here just gives us an idea of what we can see in terms of activity. Storming, in terms of what we see an uptick in tropical activity. But if we're really looking at a specific storm, it will help us have a better idea of the direction we'll go. It's not very good with intensity, but overall the general direction we're going with tropical activity is good, as well as the direction that tropical cyclones go in and areas it will affect. So again, here's this system right here. Elvis down here, 11S right there. Gets really close to Mauritius and Réunion. Heavy rain, squally weather, probably some flash flooding for sure. And again, it doesn't really do good it does show that it does intensify right before landfall, but nothing more than 45-50 miles an hour, similar to what the Joint Typhoon Warning Center is showing. However, again, it does show these two systems here, both of them becoming pretty intense. But again, the one on the east is going to be more intense, and again, the one on the east there is going to be 90S, 99S on the west, on the left side. And then it gets pulled down by that jet stream. So, overall, what are we going to see? We're expected to see 11S continue to intensify. We will get a name, we do believe, within the next day or so. Has about 3 days before it makes landfall there in Madagascar. And then those other two systems, 90S and 99S, will both intensify. No impacts to land are expected at all. And that's really it. I just kind of wanted to make this video quick. I want to make this video short, so it's very easy to get an idea of what is going on. We will continue to update everyone on these systems. Again, that's what we have right now. We will have another update for you tomorrow afternoon. Should it be this late when I make that video tomorrow, or the next early in the overnight. It should be sometime around 3, 4, 4, 5 o'clock in the afternoon Central Time. Again, thank you guys so much for watching this video. Links are all in the description below if you are interested in our Discord, our Patreon, and we are now on Blue Sky, where we are posting daily updates on these tropical systems. Well, folks, with all that being said, thank you for watching this video. This has been the Hurricane Watch Team, your source for cyclone information. As always, stay safe out there, and peace out.